What's up? What's up? It says the stream is live now. So I'm doing that thing about the dancing intro. I believe that we are up and going. So hopefully everybody, we're saying, hey, hello guys. Welcome back to the solo Minolta stream. This time, today, tonight, this evening, whatever, we are playing The Beginner's Guide. Now, this is a game that it's very hard to explain why this game is so cool, but it's super awesome and amazing. And it literally changed the way that I look at video games, creativity, the whole world. So it's super, super great. War Dog and Green Skull will both tell you the exact same thing about this game. It's incredible. So we're just going to hop right into it. Now, the thing is, there is a lot of voiceover in this game, so I'm probably not going to talk quite as much. I'm going to let the narrator in the game kind of give you the story and give you the feel, because I want you to experience this with me. If you don't know, the Beginner's Guide is available on Steam. I'm actually playing it with an Xbox controller hooked up to my PC, but you can play with a keyboard and mouse as well, or anything else. It's made by the same gentleman who created the Stanley Parable, which is also a great game, and you should go check that out. But now, without further ado, it's time to turn it on, turn it up, and get into the Beginner's Guide. Don't worry, the audio's on.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Koda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Koda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Koda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Koda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Koda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Koda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Koda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
So, like, I'm just going to pause here. I'm not going to move because that's what triggers the narration. So, like I said, this is going to be a little bit of a quieter stream, but it's a really cool story. It's fascinating. Like, the idea that we're going through and we're playing all of these little games that this little game developer guy named Koda made. It's really, really neat. So, I'm going to keep going. But like I said, I will be a little bit quieter. And if you guys want, throw it in the chat. I can kill the face cam too if you want to, like, really feel like you're in the game, because the face cam doesn't need to be up. That's an easy turn off. So just let me know. And let's keep going.
Warning. Whisper machine active. Shift to structure imminent.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Koda.
I don't want to go that way.
You can click to fire the gun.
Security code reached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Koda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
I still don't know if that's a joke or not.
Apparently this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it. Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Should I do it? Kill myself to stop the whisper machine? I don't know if I can handle the suspense, guys. I don't know if I can handle what's about to happen. No, I don't want to do it.
This is not a branching point. Unfortunately, the only option is to step into the beam.
I don't know, man. What if it is a branching point? All right, we're going to do it.
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Koda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
I love this part. I always like to look this way. You guys ready? Hey, War Dog in the chat. What's up, buddy? This is one of my favorite parts of this game.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Koda identifies something human about it, like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Okay, this game is cool, but it's like you have to you have to be playing the game to understand. And so what's so neat is like, I can't move right now. I'm like, oh, I can look around, right? And I can see, and it's like, oh, I can look around, but all of a sudden,
Yep. In this game, you can only walk backwards.
It's crazy. Like, it's such a simple mechanic, but only being able to walk backwards is super weird, right? So anyway, it's interesting. I've kind of gotten off the track here, but if you kind of stay on the right roll, it's really cool. I love this one. This is one of my favorite ideas.
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Koda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope. It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
So I really like that game. I think it's really cool, just going backwards like that, and the way that the words and the level changes slightly, like that opening wasn't there, and you didn't see those stairs at first. Oh, I bumped the mic. Anyway, I think it's pretty neat.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting. Oftentimes, Koda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
Some good water. I'm going so slow!
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Koda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press the use key on your gamepad, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
So we're not going to do that. We're going to just experience the raw game. Just this slow, inevitable climb up these stairs. Just so emotional, so deep, so... I'm tired.
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games. Koda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant.
I like that game.
He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
Some of those ones are really great.
Well, this is new for Koda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
So I know how to solve the puzzle because I've played the game before.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're gonna see it a lot.
These 3 dots are really interesting, aren't they?
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again, so that when you press the Use key on your gamepad, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
This is another fantastic effect. Get ready for this one, guys. 3, 2, 1.
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
This looks familiar.
Aha! So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Koda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
So the whole idea of like an overarching theme is very prevalent. Oh, this is a great level. They're all great levels. Like, I've honestly played this game 2 or 3 times now. The whole game probably is going to take us like an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours to go through. This is a super fun one. Just like, first of all, isn't this just striking? It's just like the imagery in the game alone is
Let's talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development. To make all of these games, Koda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Koda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well. The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Koda's games, to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
It's incredible. It's just neat, right? It's just visually striking. It's just a cool experience, more than like a game in a traditional sense. They call it a narrative experience. This reminds me of a James Bond villain's lair.
prison. Funny enough, in Koda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that. This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
That's the one thing with this game is you'd think that there would be, like he said, a gag or something hidden somewhere, and there very rarely is. In this game, there's not much. It's just kind of what you see is what you get. Oh, there are those 3 dots again, though. I mean, I don't know what that means.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time. There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Koda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly. Here, Koda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the buttons on your gamepad to respond.
I've been to the world above. I did. Tell us the solution. Say I don't remember. I'm trying to remember, but I can't. This stream's been going for about 20 minutes right now. TJ Miller. I still don't really understand this, what the meaning of this this whole conversation system is, other than just the fact that it's so blocked off. Like, you can't really answer the way that you would want to, right? These people want the answer, and I wish that I could tell them, but you can't. I've been through it a few times just to try the different dialogue options, and I've never really gotten anything interesting or a response that I could really understand or make more.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
In the basement. This is one of the main things you'll see that associates with this game. The lamppost.
It's a lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason, Koda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
Or I know what you mean, but I just mean, I don't know. I guess I always want to find like some combination that I hadn't found before, or something like at least more interesting. You know what I mean? But it's always kind of the same. There's no way around it to get to another sort of set of dialogue options. That's what I always wondered. Because like there are other levels, like this level. So obviously the notes left by other players, right? And so the whole thing with this is that all of these, it says this game is connected to the internet, and that these are all notes left by other players, right? Nice room, not.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Koda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually. Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played. But it's ironic, isn't it, that in playing this game and seeing how alone Koda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me, that I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Koda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
No, I think I've read most or all of these. So there some of them are good. Make the jump. Let's do it. Oh, it doesn't work. I really like the painting. What is that painting? So you can only leave notes. You can like, if you're interested in someone who actually made this game, don't listen to the other notes. I love the painting. Intense. Looks like dots. Cabbage shapes our nation. Stop it. Pretentious and you all suck. He really perfectly encapsulated the internet, you know? This game is like the ocean, man. It's super deep.
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Koda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one.
Oh look, 3 dots.
In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Koda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on.
Here we are. All these idiots.
And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
I love this note. It's perfect. There is no better note than that for after the puzzle with all those people freaking out. How do you leave notes? I'm actually in red beer, Papa. I'm not in Lethbridge anymore.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Oh yeah, the prison one. This one's weird. This one's pretty weird. It's like all these iterations on the same idea. I do like how it ends, though. It ends really well. What sound? The game? Yeah, like, this is the thing, is that like when we get to the end of this, oh man.
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Koda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
Open a TV with surround sound. Ah. Let's put a huge picture of a horse. Aww. Okay, I'm thinking 10 by 12 recessed electric 6-inch soft LED ceiling lights with fluorescent trim. Alright, that's good too though. Right, the table's already there.
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake. So, okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Any prison environment. Follow the instructions carefully, take care that you remember each step. First, click on this table. Good, go over to the photo frame. Click it to turn it slightly. Now, turn the floor lamp in this room off, then turn it back on again. Oh, 3 dots. Floor lamp. Off, back on again. Now go to the left side sofa. Move it over a little bit. Alright, sure. Now, finally, touch the shelves. Alright, blammo. That's it. In a real prison, the escape will now open. Remember to start to take it back to your prison. Alright. I'm ready to escape a prison. Alright, let's do it. We've got all the tools we need, stream. Here we go. We're gonna break out of this prison. This is a great game. I really like this game.
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape.
All that preparation.
Here's a
for
version
nothing.
where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this, to see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Koda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop, that particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it. It's a conversation. And so this is what Koda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Koda talking to himself.
Do you guys want me to read this dialogue? I could be. Like, they told, let's see, they asked me how I felt about being imprisoned. What? That freed you? How does that work? Listen, you can't know until you're out, but I promise, it works. Just trust me. Okay, I feel afraid that nothing will ever change. Go on.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be nice.
So what would it look like if Koda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself?
I feel like this is the part in the game where it lags just like a little bit. It's
To me, this environment is meant to represent Koda's puzzle, with the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
It's not bad. This is some of my favorite part. Well, my goodness, I'm glad as all heck that you showed up. Thought I might be having to clean this entire house all by myself. And right miserable that would have been. Everyone knows lonesome hands make
You'll
lousy
notice that the
homes.
quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Clear the table. Make the bed. Run to the bedroom and make the bed. Got it. Straighten out the rug? No problem, baby. All the little details matter. Do you enjoy being a house cleaner girl? Well, I didn't enjoy it so much as I need it. While I'm working, I feel a kind of calm that rests in the pit of my ribcage. My soul just can't be soothed any other way, it seems, which I guess is about all that matters. Oh, that and a tidy couch. Would you straighten the pillows on the sofas out here? Oh dear, looks like someone spilled a drink over by the couch. Let me mop that up, as long as you're over there. I feel compelled to share an incredibly cheesy personal insight. You okay with that? Make it especially cheesy, baby. 3 dots. 3 dots again. No, 3 dots. Aw. No, it was stupid, sorry. Never mind. Oh, girl. Hey, these dishes need to be washed. Why don't you come do that? Alright, babe. You got it. Last I checked, the tub needed a cleaning. The tub? Come on, bitch. Fuck. There. No need to be perfect. We're all just human. Alright, thanks. I mean, wait, I did the voice wrong. Scattered on the floor of the bedroom. I got it. These books, this whole bookshelf is a mess. There you go. Perfect. Clear the dishes off the table, but I already did that!
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful. I know that Koda really liked this game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was like grossly happy all the time, just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
One's house is a lot like one's soul. You take care of it, and it takes care of you. Don't know why I felt so weird about saying that. I get it. It's a weird thing for someone to say something you just met. I'm gonna push 3. But there's a bit of truth in it, no? 3 dots. Anyway, oh man, what a bitch. So, housekeeping, or whatever. Let's keep doing this. Clean up the bugs. I'm never gonna get any. This game sucks. There's no sex in it at all. I thought this was gonna be like Mass Effect.
I'm glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace.
This is really calming though, to be honest. It is kind of like a nice little, like just the game,
But,
the song,
of course,
and
it
everything.
can't last.
Oh.
The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
Yeah, so just a quick recap for anyone who's joining the stream just now. This is a series of games that were created by a guy named Koda. The narrator is a different guy who finds the work of Koda to be really compelling and really cool, but Koda, the developer who made these games, who made the game that I'm in right now, never released any of them. And so the narrator has collected these games in a collection, has released them in order to encourage Koda to make more games, because he has stopped making games. And so that's kind of the story so far, and we're about halfway through it. So that's sort of where we've gotten caught up to. And yeah, this is basically, he's just sort of exploring where he feels like Koda is at mentally, like he's talking about how Koda's dealing with stuff in his real life and how he sees that reflected in the games that he was creating at that time. So let's move on. And this lamppost is a recurring theme in the game.
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move. I really thought that was the point of it. This one gets a bit goofy.
I like this game. Yes, I want to improve my life. Was it to get a better job? Why did you come here today? Was it to make your relationships more meaningful? No. You came here to become perfect. This workshop is going to teach you how to be perfect. I want your friends, the people in your life, to look at you and think, wow, this person is a better human being than I am. Right now, who do you think about that way in your own life? Who do you know who is so well developed as a person that they make you feel disgusted with yourself? Compared to whom you feel useless, selfish, ungrateful. I intend to make you into that person. Perfection is within your grasp. And the question is not how do we do it, but how do we do it effortlessly. This is so easy. It's so
About halfway
easy.
through the game,
it's so
the perspective
easy.
shifts.
Being perfect is effortless. Oh, wait. On the way to work, I told another person to start contributing to society.
And you play as the teacher. And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are.
Being
and
alone
also
must
you
be
can
awful.
move around the classroom now.
Thank goodness all of you perceive me as being wise and intelligent. So actually, if you look at my thumbnail, guys, for this stream, if you actually look at the image, this is the background of it. It's just like very, very dark, so you can barely see it. So that's kind of what the beginner's guide is all about. Haha, just kidding. LOL, JK. Do as easiest, do it as simplest. Feel what is true. Nothing. No one.
I felt pretty hard for this one.
Perfection.
I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can
Lamppost is
have.
over there.
To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human. I think about this game a lot these days.
I like that one. Ooh. Here we go.
This one took a lot longer than all the others for Koda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
Alright, guys. This is where the game starts to get heavy, man. It's where it starts to get heavy. This is pretty cool, though. The giant theater. Alright, the performance is beginning. Places, please. In this scene, you will be playing as me. We are a gathering of professionals. First, you start out leaning against this wall. Oh, fantastic. Stage direction. Allow me to lean. Good, stay right there. The woman across the room in this chair is a professional photographer of animals. It's your dream to photograph animals professionally. This is your one chance to learn something for her, to gain something to succeed. Go on, say something to her. Where is the bathroom? What are you doing? You're deflecting. You're not saying what's actually on your mind. Stop dancing around it and have a conversation with this person. Do it again. All right. Do I have to go back to the wall? No, I think it's going to be okay. All right, listen. I like you. No, that's not what I said to her at all. You're completely missing the tone of the conversation. I was reserved, but I knew what I wanted. I was confident. For some reason, it was just that one moment, but I was confident. Maybe it's that you need a better feel of the setting. There were a lot of people around us. I'll give you some props to work with. These cones that bounce when you touch them will represent the people nearby. What? Oh. Talk to her again. All right. You must have worked really hard to get where you are. You're messing it all up again. Oh, you'll freak her out if the conversation gets that personal that quickly. Do you not realize how important this was for me? I'll never get another opportunity like this again. Everything was riding on this. See? This is it's like sad. I want to try something. Try stepping back from the stage. Oh, look, there's the lamppost again. Step back just a little bit further. Just a little bit further back into this deep dark. Oh. Okay, yes, now this is working.
The game ends with this eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Koda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Koda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Koda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. To be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do? After this, Koda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
This one's pretty fun. Help, I'm blind! So you're supposed to be blind. Tell me how to solve this. So everyone's supposed to be blind. You're supposed to... You're not supposed to know how to do it. You're going, see, we're heading towards the door. Oh right, I die. As we hit the door. We crashed right into the door.
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
Where's the... I can't remember where the switch is. That... Is it up here? I can't remember. I think that's what it is, right? Oh, wait. Why am I stuck? I can't move. Oh, it's broken. Okay. Let me get up there. It's this guy up there by the lamppost. I can't see anything. It stuck me against... I got stuck into the thing. There we go. Truth. This guy's truth. Everyone else is blind. I am bursting with creative energy. No. That isn't truthful. Are you sure? Oh. Really? Oh, man. I forgot that he doesn't ask you again. Alright, Scream. We'll get it. We'll get it. I guess I should have tried it with my eyes closed. I don't know why I'm not playing with my eyes closed. I'm not following Koda's intent. Say something that is honest. I can't keep making these. That's the one that wins, I think. Yeah. Yes, that's it. That's the truth. Koda can't keep making these games. I'm out of ideas.
Like I said, I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Koda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way. His games are going to get more desperate from here on out. After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
Hey, this game's cool. This is another one that's really nice and calming. I'll read the voices. Is that a person? How lovely. It's been a long time since I talked to anyone. What's wrong? You look lost. I'm completely out of ideas. Oh no. What's happened? Did something change? There was a machine that kept me going, and it stopped. Wait, you're looking for a machine? I think I know where it is. It isn't far. What? I can take you to it.
If the last game featured Koda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for?
Here's the puzzle.
Because from my perspective at the time and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
Oh yeah, it's free. I don't think I mapped the buttons correctly.
You can't talk yourself out of loneliness.
Oh my god, the
It
chat.
doesn't work that way.
Papa,
You
did
can't
guys
be
take
the
brown
one
acid?
writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
There's no machine here. You have to say that your work is fun and easy. You have to say that game development is simple and joyous and that you love it 100% of the time. Okay, making games is simple. Ah, that feels wonderful. But it wasn't true. Don't worry about it. Just keep talking. Keep saying that creation is easy. When I make games, I feel completely energized. Yes, that's wonderful. Keep going.
Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering. This is someone I really cared about. And I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me. I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to stop more than anything. I had never felt so rotten. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop. But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Koda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
So he's taking longer and longer between games. Ma'am, glad to see you've arrived safely. We've captured the machine. It's waiting for you now. You can begin the interrogation whenever you like. I intend to be quick. Very good, ma'am. Just be warned, someone called the press, so we might have a bit of attention on this one. Also, one more thing that you should know about the machine. It calls itself Koda. Oh god, it's the press! They're everywhere! What will you do with the machine? Do you know where the poisonous games are coming from? Please, could you take a minute for an interview? What will the machine answer for what it's done? Will we get to see the machine? Where's the machine? Tell us about the machine. What will you do with the machine? These guys must all be big fans of Bush, remember? That album Machine Head? Here we are. It's the machine.
And of course, it's the machine.
Oh, sorry, I kind of stepped on your toes there, buddy. You stopped. You stopped feeding us. Those people out there, can you imagine what pain you've put them through? So here's what needs to happen. You need to go out and apologize to them. No? Nothing? All right then, I'll speak to them for you. Let's go out to the public. Talk to the press. Hello, press. My followers, everyone, my subscribers. It falls on me to deliver bad news. The machine will not apologize to us. But this is not important. We are stronger than it thinks. Let us pay it retribution. Follow me, and we will destroy the machine. Hiya! Oh, wait. Oh, destroy the machine! This is not the machine, but it's a theater! I'll make sure your work dies here, Koda. You son of a bitch. Destroy it all. Is this what you're scared of?
So now the work is
Having to
becoming
live
self-destructive.
without your
And I'll tell you,
precious
at the time that I
games?
first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that Koda's stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking this, I realized that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Koda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
Destroying all these places that we've been. A sad world.
So I started showing Koda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
The lamppost is there, kind of shoved in the back. Put down your weapon. Never.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something, I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy. So anyway, Koda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Koda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Koda ever made. So let's take a look.
This is it, guys. This is the last level of the beginner's guide. Get ready. I'm excited. Just pay attention to what's going to happen here. It's fascinating. This is the tower. It's where it's the keystone of the game. It's exactly where everything's kind of goes nuts.
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Koda's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game. This room actually has a maze in it. Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise, so the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played, it actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the level, so when you're ready to continue, press the Use key on your gamepad, and I'll put a bridge over the maze. And to be fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze? The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Koda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
This is obviously not the most fun level in the game or anything like that, but trust me, when we get to the end here, it'll all make sense. I'm in the tower, guys. We're gonna get up there. I actually do enjoy the skybox like of this level just because of the way that they made it. So like you see all these crazy like other, steps. I think that's really neat. It's a cool effect.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Koda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem. But I can open this door for you, so let me do that. Was I a failure for not understanding this game? I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why. I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time, and as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't. I just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left, and it felt somehow like I had failed.
So it's more about the narrator than it is about Koda. He cares
Where did
more
I screw
about
up?
these games because of what they do for him than what they do for Koda. So this is the end of the tower. And these are messages written from Koda, the developer of the games, to Davey, the narrator. I'm going to read each of them out loud. Dear Davey, thank you for your interest in my games. I need to ask you not to speak to me anymore.
I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you. I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable.
I wonder at times whether you think I am making these games for you. So Koda's saying that he didn't make these games for Davey. Especially not for him to show to other people.
And the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
You've so infected my personal space that it's possible I did begin to plant solutions in my work somewhere, hidden between games. So, I mean, as you can see, Koda is obviously not comfortable with Davey's, or the narrator, as he said, his interpretation of the games. If there was an answer, a meaning, would it make you any happier? And this is what's so interesting, is that while Davey has been talking about Koda's mental health and how he's concerned for his friend, it seems that actually Koda is the one who might be doing okay and Davey's the one who has a problem. Would you stop taking my games and showing them to people against my wishes? So obviously Koda doesn't want these games shown to other people, and Davey hasn't respected that because he's so narcissistic that he needs validation from somebody because he needs to feel good about himself. Giving them something that is not yours to give, violating the one boundary that keeps me safe. Obviously, Koda doesn't want this stuff shown, and like Davey's just so in need of validation that he is doing it regardless. Now, this is the big one. Would you stop changing my games? Stop adding lampposts to them. So all those lampposts, all that stuff that seemed interconnected, like it was all part of an overarch, was all Davey manipulating the games. The narrator making us think that Koda is this brilliant guy who's making all these games together, but really he just wanted to make it seem more meaningful than it actually was.
And then you stopped, and I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all. Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean?
Would you simply let them be what they are? So all this time that Davey's been like, making me skip the prison for so long or letting me go through doors that would be locked normally, Koda is uncomfortable with that as the creator of these games. He doesn't want them being manipulated or messed with. And so the fact that Davey was deriving so much personal meaning out of them is ridiculous because they're not even something that he would want you to do. That's where it starts to get really mean. When I'm around you, I feel physically ill. That's how much Koda dislikes the narrator. You desperately need something and I cannot give it to you. I literally do not have it. He's talking about how bad the narrator wanted just someone to give him validation, to make him feel good, like he was doing something good, like he's a good person. Struggling to come up with new ideas is not making me depressed. Low points are just a part of the process. So all that stuff where he was talking about how, like he's going through a really tough time and he can't figure out these games and I'm really worried about him. All that stuff that kind of made this so compelling and interesting was all just a lie. It was all just made up. The fact that you think I am frustrated or broken says more about you than about me. And that's the big thing, is that the narrator is the unreliable one. He's the one who's been manipulating us to feel bad so that we'll follow this story. I realize that this doesn't make sense to you just yet, because obviously this guy's so delusional, the narrator, which is fine. You're not my problem to solve.
I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
But I do hope that one day it clicks and that you make peace with this thing you are wrestling. So really, this is Koda talking to the narrator and saying he's the one who has the problem. And when you finally see what I am talking about, don't say anything. There's no switch.
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work, is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me? Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
So, pretty intense, right? Like, the whole time, it reminds me a lot of BioShock. If you guys have played BioShock, it's very similar to the twist at the end of BioShock, and all of a sudden you realize that basically the whole game was this guy, this narrator, just totally unraveling. The lampposts, the dots, all the meaning and all the analysis, everything about it was
more love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease. Solution. I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed. Maybe he just likes making prisons.
Sometimes people just like making prisons. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Google that. Google.
Even now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
This is kind of Halo-esque. I don't feel anything. I'm
If I
just looking
knew
at the
that my
chat.
life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
Think about that though. Like, I mean, how much of what you do in your daily life is driven by external validation from others? Other people telling you like, "Oh, this is really good. Like, I really like what you're doing." I know that was one of the things that really hit me with this game is that obviously, like, I really appreciate when you guys tell me that you like my videos and everything like that. But
What now?
sometimes I worry, right? Like, and that's something that I always want to do. I want to make videos or whatever because I love making them, not because you guys are just like, oh, I really love what you're doing.
I
not
think
for,
I need to go.
for praise.
And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for, and so I'm just gonna... Okay.
And that's the last we see of our faithful narrator. And some serious Sam level shit. The game's ending is pretty ambiguous. I think there are some there is another set of 3 dots around here somewhere, but as we know, I mean, we don't even know. That's the beautiful thing. That's why I like to point out the 3 dots, is that we don't know if the narrator put them there, if they were put there by Koda. Like, Koda specifically says, like, oh, I asked him what the 3 dots mean, but he wouldn't tell me. But for all we know, that could be a lie that Koda's telling us. Sorry, Wonder Broom. Sorry, you. This is you definitely want to experience this from the start. It's not something that I think YouTube should allow you to just skip it all the way backwards, though. I think you don't have to watch it live. But yeah, this will be a journey for you. It's like a movie. I really love. It's a great narrative experience. Like it really reminded me of a movie, and yeah, like just I've played through it a couple of times. It's a heck of an experience. It blows me away every time. Really, like I said, it changes the way that I think you think about games, and like I said, even the way you think about life, creativity, all that stuff. It's a fascinating game. And the ending, I love this. I love things that have come full circle. I like Arrested Development. If you guys ever watch that show, I like things that really wrap up nicely. And although the meaning of the game and everything is very ambiguous, I think that this ending is perfect. So if you remember back, some of you guys might not have been here at the very start of the stream, but the second level in this whole game is the Whisper Drive level. And in order to stop the Whisper Drive, you have to throw your body over the power beam and kill yourself, but saving everybody else. So it's like a sacrifice, a question of sacrifice. And so here we are at the end of the beginner's guide, and the same thing is here. The Whisper Drive. Where it all started. Where Koda started to apparently get his love for these crazy, zany games. And, you know, there's only one option. Because the narrator's not here. He's gone. He left. He had a lot of work to do. So, guys, thanks for watching the stream. This is one of my favorite games of all time, and I'm glad that we could experience this together. I want to thank you all for joining me. And we're going to step into the Whisper Drive here. And that's it. This is the end of the beginner's guide, everybody. The big maze. Big maze. Now, I don't know if this is what happens when you die or not, but I think it's a very fitting end to the game. It's beautiful. Music is great. Aesthetic is wonderful. I really love just trying to get the camera just right. Looking at this huge maze. It's just incredible. It's an incredible game, and it's an incredible experience.
Turn back.
Thanks a lot for watching, guys.
Turn back from this cave. You said, let me prove that I'm brave. Let me keep going.
I love this ending too. It's got some feels.
The cave goes for miles and miles and miles. And you're so tired, but I know that you're strong. So turn back. Turn back.
Well, that does it for the stream, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. My name's Jeff Wood. You might know me as Minolta 1034. This has been The Beginner's Guide.